Welcome everyone to this new session of mobile communication and computing. In the last session, we got introduced to second generation of mobile communication systems that is called as GSM. We got introduced about services offered by GSM. Now in this session, we will see architecture of GSM which contains different subsystems, different components. Now this is the first part of GSM architecture. So this entire architecture will be divided into two sessions. So let's see what is GSM. So GSM is a public land mobile network. So what is the meaning of public land mobile network? So it means that several providers, that is service providers of a GSM, set up their own networks following the standards provided by the GSM system. So each country has several providers, like we have Vodafone, Idea, Airtel, and different service providers. Each one follows same standard specified by the GSM. They combine together to set up the network, and that's why it is called as public land mobile network. It's a network of different service provider providing mobility to the different users. So there are four basic entities or components in this entire architecture. One is a handset, that is mobile station, which comprises of our SIM card. Then there is a base station which we see nearby or in our nearby location, that is our tower. Then MSC, that is mobile switching center, which switches the calls from mobile network to other network, whether it is a telephone network or another mobile network, that doesn't matter for MSC. And finally, a databases, that is location registers. These are the four basic components. We will see them in detail one by one. So basically this entire architecture is divided into three subsystems according to their functionality. First one is RSS, that is radio subsystem, which covers all the radio aspects. Radio means wireless signal aspects which are in the radio frequency range. Then second system is network and switching subsystem, which provides the necessary network for establishing a call, forwarding a call, handovers, switching. Meaning of handover switching you will come to know later on. And the third subsystem is for maintenance, operation and maintenance purpose. That is called as operation subsystem. It manages smooth functionality of entire network. So let's see these subsystems one by one. So this is the functional architectural diagram of our entire GSM system. So as you can see at the top of it, as you can see at the top of it, there are two cells shown over here, radio cells named by radio cells. Each cell is containing a BTS and MS, that is our tower, and user. MS is nothing but user containing a mobile handset or portable device. Now we have seen in the last lecture or last session why cell is hexagonal in shape and how different cells are allocated different set of frequencies for communication. So who allocates these frequencies, how mobile user is connecting to the different base stations or towers, that will be controlled by the BTS. So we will see functional details of BTS later on. So right now let's just see the different components. So radio cell containing of user, mobile user, and base transceiver station, that is BTS. Then if you see, the radio system is up to this point. This is radio subsystem. So radio subsystem consists of three basic entities: mobile station, base station, that is base transceiver station, and base station controller. If you see, mobile station is connected to here. Mobile station is connected to BTS via wireless connection, that is denoted by twisted arrow, and BTS is connected to a BSC via wired connection. This is wired. So only part that is wireless is from base transceiver station to mobile station. Now different interfaces are used for these connections. interfaces means uh, different standards have been defined. Using those standards only you can connect to particular entity. That is, for example, mobile station can connect to base transceiver station using only standard. So this connection is standardized as a Okay, so it specifies what frequency, how encoding should be done, how to access the channel. Everything is specified in this interface. Details of interface we will cover later on. Then BTS is connected to BSC via ABC interface. So it is also standardized. It's not just like you can decide your own way of connecting to BSC. You have to follow certain standard, and that standard is specified as AB standard. A subscript BIS. Okay, then BSCs are connected to network subsystem via A standard. So BSCs further need to follow uh, standards for connecting to the main switching center, that is A standard. It is called as A interface. Okay, so this is radio subsystem comprising of three parts: MS, BTS and BSC. Then comes NSS, that is network and switching subsystem. It contains mobile switching center and several registers, location registers, which are denoted by this icon: visitor location register, home location register. Then there are two another entities. One is GMSC, that is a gateway MSC. We know functions of gateway. Gateways are used for interconnection of different types of network. If GSM call is to be forwarded to another network, GMSC will come into the picture. And then interworking function register, which is connecting your calls to a data network, packet data network, PDN. Okay, so if you can see, MSC is connected to two type of databases, VLR and HLR, home location register and visitor location register. So it's a database comprising of location of all the users within a subsystem or within a system. Okay, so these are the components of NSS: MSC, VLR, HLR, gateway MSC and IWF, that is interworking for function register. And then last part or last subsystem is OSS, operation and maintenance subsystem or operation subsystem. It contains two basic entities: one for authentication, this is authentication center for verifying the identity of the user, and then operation and maintenance center, which is connected to every other entity in the network and operation subsystem. Okay, so in the network subsystem all the entities are managed by uh, OMC or maintained by OMC. Then there is another database called as EIR. This database contains of list of valid handsets and invalid handsets. Details about this will come later on. So OSS contains three entities again. Okay, so this is a functional diagram of functional architecture of a GSM system. As you can see, the large circle over here, it is named as a BSS. So combination of base station controller, BTS and MS. One base station controller connected to several, one base station controller is connected to more than one BTS. Okay, so controller can connect different BTSs. One BTS can connect to different users like this. Okay, so one BSC under which several BTS, under which several MS comprise of a single base station subsystem. Okay, so base station subsystem consists of BTS, BSC and MS. Okay, so let's see what are the different functions of each subsystem or each entity within the radio subsystem. So RSS comprises of cellular mobile network up to the switching centers. As we have seen, the different cells were involved, so it comprises of mobile network up to the switching center. It comprises of two basic components, BSS and MS. BSS stands for base station subsystem, which contains two major components, that is base transceiver station, in which radio components including sender, receiver, that is users, antennas, they are part of a base transceiver station. Okay, then base station controller is used to manage several BTS, controlling them, mapping of wireless network resources to wired network resources, maintaining or converting wireless connection to terrestrial channels, that is terrestrial connection or wired connection, that is also part of base station controller's job. So in short, we can summarize as BSS is equal to one base station plus summation of all transceiver station, that is several transceiver stations which come under the same controller, and then their interconnection of BSC with the several BTS. So that forms our BSS. And mobile stations, we will see mobile stations, what does it contain and what functionality it provides later on. Okay, so let's see the functions of each entity. First of all, bus station subsystem. BSS is part of every GSM network. So a GSM network comprises of several BSSs, each controlled by a base station controller. So controller is responsible for managing one base station subsystem. So what are the functions of it? Maintain the radio connections to the mobile user, coding and decoding of voice and data, data rate adaptation to and from the wireless network part. These are the three main functions of BSS. So how to set up a connection wirelessly to user, then how to transmit voice or data in appropriate format so that uh, quality will be high, audio or data quality will be high and no errors will be introduced. So for that, coding and decoding, and data rate adaptation depending on availability of channels and signal strength of a receiver, that is user. Data rate adaptation is done by the BSS. A BSS contains several base transceiver station. So what is the function of base transceiver station? So primary function of base transceiver station is forming a cell, that is your network coverage area. For that, it requires all the radio equipment, that is antennas, signal processing units, amplifiers, that is hardware part necessary for radio wave transmission. So it connects to the mobile user via interface as we saw in the architectural diagram, and it connects to the base station controller via ABS interface, which is a wired interface. Okay, so interface contains all the mechanism and standards required for wireless transmission, whereas ABS interface consists of wired connection of 16 or 64 kbps data rate. Okay, so the area that can be covered by a single base transceiver station, that can be from 100 meter, that is followed in some cities or largely populated cities, and up to 35 kilometer, that is usually found in village areas or countryside areas. But these numbers can vary depending on population density, okay, or environment also, that is buildings, open space, mountains, etc. So in short, base transceiver station is responsible for forming a hexagonal cell which is required for wireless communication or mobile communication from the user end. So now let's see the functions of base station controller, which is the last part of uh, base station subsystem. It basic job of this base station controller is, as the name suggests, controlling the functionality of several BTSs which are connected to it. So what are the functions? As we know, each cell is allocated different set of channels or a different set of frequencies. Which channels will be allocated to which cells, that is decided by BSC. So it reserves radio frequency channels for BTS. It handles the handover from one BTS to another or handover within the same base station subsystem. Handover means when there is not when there is a situation where communication is not possible on a certain ongoing channel, that means channel which is currently carrying communication, If it is not possible, you have to switch the channel from one to another, that is handover. We will see details of it later on. And performs paging of the MS. Paging means signaling information exchange required for maintaining the connectivity. Okay, so before apart from that, it also multiplexes wireless radio channels onto the wired network connections at the end interface. So several connections are combined together and sent over a wired network to the switching centers in the network subsystem. Okay, so the table shows different functionality of BTS and BSC, like encryption, decryption, or rate adaptation, whatever we have discussed, location updation, handover management, and so on. Okay, so these are the three infrastructural part. Now, main part at the user end, that is mobile station. So, what is a mobile station? Mobile station is not simply the handset used by or portable device used by the user. It is comprising of mobile handset, that is portable device, SIM card, and necessary functionality along with it. So functional groups of mobile station will come in the next slide. So it comprises all the user equipment, that is hardware and software both, needed for communication within that particular cell. So MS consists of user independent hardware and software, that is mobile handset. Software is our operating system on that handset. So hardware and software, that is part of MS. And for distinguishing between different service provider, a subscriber identity module SIM card, which stores all user specific data that is relevant to GSM. So while MS can be identified via IMEI, that is International Mobile Equipment Identity, each handset or portable device is uniquely identified via this IMEI. A user can personalize his own handset using different service provider. So for that, it will require a SIM card, that is subscriber identity module. So user specific mechanisms like call charging, that is how much charges will be applied to the user for calling or maintaining a data connection, or verification of the user or authentication of the user for subscribed services, are based on the SIM, not the device. So even if service provider is the same, different user may opt for different services provided by the service provider. Then device specific mechanism like theft protection or device specific IMEI are also part of mobile station. So you can prevent your mobile to being stolen, as it is a portable device. There are chances that it can be stolen. So that functionality depends on the manufacturer of the mobile station handset. So it is device specific. So without the SIM card, only emergency calls are possible. So your handset, that is your portable device, is capable of making calls even after not inserting a SIM card. But only emergency calls are possible without a SIM card. Emergency calls like 112, 911, these or ambulance numbers, these numbers are possible without SIM card also. Okay, SIM card contains many identifiers and tables, such as what is the type of card, what is the number of card, serial number of card, then what are the services subscribed to that particular SIM card. Then there is a PIN, that is personal identity number. Then this PIN is used for locking a SIM card, or for unblocking it you need a PUK, that is PIN unblocking key. Then for authentication of different services you require authentication key, or for uniquely identifying each SIM card you need a international mobile subscriber identity. All these numbers and values or uh, services are part of SIM card. As I said, PIN is used to unlock the MS. So if we use the PIN 3 times wrongly, then SIM will be locked. it is assumed that it is handled by the unauthorized user and SIM will get locked and you will require a PUK to unblock it or unlock it. So that can be done by calling your service provider and getting that PUK. Okay, so anti-theft is provided in a software manner by PIN and PUK. Okay, so MS stores dynamic information while logged on to the GSM system. So what is that dynamic information? Dynamic means this information will get changed from time to time, like cipher key, as we have seen in the last session. The communication over the air interface is encrypted. So for encryption you will require a cipher key. Then location information, which will be always updated if you are moving, if you are driving a car, if you are walking, then your location information will be updated. So which consists of temporary mobile subscriber identity based on your location, whether you are in your home location, that is location where you have already bought the SIM card, or you have gone to some other location, that is depending on that you will be given temporary subscriber identity and another number identifying your current location, that is LAI, location area identification. So this information is also stored in the mobile station. Okay, so mobile stations for GSM 900, there are two versions of GSM. One in a 900 megahertz band, which is used in India, whereas another is in a 1800 megahertz band that is used across the Europe. Different versions use a different transmission power. In India, we require GSM 900 service, so transmission power of up to 2 watt is sufficient, whereas for 1800 band 1 watt is also sufficient or enough due to the smaller cell size. So functional groups of this entire mobile station can be divided into four components, three of which are shown on the diagram. First one is a mobile terminal. As you can see mobile terminal is providing the interface or connected to the base transceiver station via interface. So it contains antenna, that is end point of a radio interface. Antenna is able to receive the radio waves and convert them into the physical signal. So mobile terminal contains the hardware part which is responsible for conversion of wireless signal into wired signal. Then there is a terminal equipment which is user accessible, like your hardware through which you are initiating actions for making a communication, like your keypad, your display, all those parts are uh, inside this terminal equipment. So terminal equipment is user side, where mobile terminal is on the wireless side, that is air or interface. Okay, to make this communication possible between user and antenna or hardware part, the signals or keys pressed by the user, they are converted into their appropriate signals by a terminal adapter. Okay, so terminal adapter hides the radio specific characteristics, that is whatever radio signals are received that are not known to the user, they are converted into appropriate values and signals for display by the terminal adapter, whereas whatever information is entered by the user, that is converted into radio signals by the terminal adapter. Okay, so these three functional entities. Apart from that, it is supported by a SIM card which store all the necessary information specific to the user. So this is functional entities of a mobile station. So that's all for today. In the next session, we will see the next two subsystems of the GSM architecture, that is network switching subsystem and operation subsystem. Okay, in this session we have seen different components of a radio subsystem and their functionalities. So we have covered in this session up to this part we have covered. In the next session this part will be covered. Okay, thank you for watching.